was to go forward with the hearing?
It was a pretty modest decision. We just felt that Steve Wynn was a particularly important part of the Wynn Resorts operation in the first instance. This is not just a routine change of a significant player. This is the change of a very significant player, and that therefore we ought to have a public hearing where we discuss the pros and cons of Steve Wynn leaving his category as a qualifier, an important party to this transaction. We do that in public, and we have a public record so that it's clear why we did that.
And why is it important to take his name? Why do people want to take his name off of the license? Is this the first step to taking his name off of the casino? Is what many people are wondering.
I can't speak to the motivation of the companies. What his lawyer and what Wynn Resorts' lawyer have said is he's no longer the CEO, he's no longer the chairman of the board, he no longer has a financial interest in the organization, he no longer, we're told, has any influence in the organization, and if that's all true, then under the law he would no longer be a qualifier. How that fits into the company's strategy, I don't have any idea.
Would the commission hold this kind of a hearing if the CEO or chairman of the board of a different license holder resigned, or is this unique to the circumstances surrounding Wynn?
It's not necessarily unique to Wynn, but it's unique to a significant kind of a player. If it was just any old board seat or any old mid-level manager, no, we would probably not hold a public hearing. But anybody who was a really particularly significant player, especially in a situation like this that's been so controversial and visible and dramatic, we just want to make sure the public knows absolutely everything that we're thinking about and how and why we're doing what we're doing.
And will the allegations against Mr. Wynn be able to be brought up in this hearing?
No, that won't be. We won't be judging whether he would be suitable or not. We're judging whether or not he is still a qualifier.
Whether he is or is not a qualifier, will that make a difference in the suitability investigation?
Of Wynn Resorts? Well, if he were a qualifier, then we would have to take into consideration his role in the organization. If he's not a qualifier, then Steve Wynn and his own personal background and so forth aren't relevant.
So then would the investigations start to focus on who that remains at Wynn Resorts knew about his actions, if anyone?
Well, I think Executive Director Bedrosian said that the investigation will continue as it has been going, and we've always been clear that there were the Steve Wynn personal issues, and then there are the other issues of the organization, the board of directors, and other senior management. And that investigation will continue as it always has.
Do you have any
There were
information
reports over the weekend that Wynn might be shopping around the Boston Harbor project. Have you heard anything to that effect?
I read the same news reports you do, but I have no inside information on that at all.
So they haven't talked to you about that?
Nobody's talked to me about it, no.
With regard to the hearing, I mean, are you just want to determine that he has done exactly what he said he did, which is to sell all the shares and everything? If they've done exactly what he said, that should be sufficient to take him off as a qualifier? Are there any other unanswered questions that you'll be considering at that hearing?
Well, there are some judgment calls. There is something called a close associate, and we have a broad responsibility to keep an eye out on anybody who might have any influence. So it's not just checking boxes. Did he sell his stock? Does he have a position? It also goes to, does he have any residual influence, for example? So yes, we will be asking some questions and making sure that we understand for sure and in detail exactly what the relationship is.
Thank you.
I was just curious, does the fact that his name is on the building, is that residual influence?
It's a great article for you to write. I would guess probably not inherently, no. There's no influence on the operations in the name. The name has its own issues, which we are told Wynn Resorts are themselves addressing.